Did you spot this My Chemical Romance reference in the Umbrella Academy? The third season of the Netflix series was released earlier this year, based on the comic series created by MCR frontman Gerard Way, and fans have been discussing the importance of one particular MCR Easter egg spotted in the first episode. And before we go any further, we should say that spoilers are of course ahead. So, in the opening episode, we see the character of Sloane from the Sparrow Academy, played by Genesis Rodriguez, reading a book called The Jet Set Life. This is, of course, in reference to My Chem's The Jet Set Life Is Gonna Kill You from the album Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. And as many fans have pointed out, this may have been an early hint towards the eventual fate of Sloane's character. In Season 3's final episode, Oblivion, as Allison activates the reset machine, Sloane disappears, seemingly lost as the Hargreaves siblings enter the new, rebuilt universe without their powers. So, did the earlier MCR reference reveal that Sloane would indeed be killed by the end of the season? Of course, we won't know for sure until Season 4 arrives on Netflix, but that's not the only My Chem Easter egg we have seen in the show so far. You might remember back in Season 1, Vanya is spotted looking at the back of a book with a quote from a famous author, none other than Gerard Way himself. In fact, in a previous interview, Gerard revealed that his time in the band was one of the major influences on the characters. He said, "Being in a band is like being in a dysfunctional family, and all these personalities are really distinct and really big." So there's little bits of me in all the characters, there's bits of some of the guys in some of those characters, and the different roles that we would play in the band, and how those roles would change sometimes. We were in a big pressure cooker of fame and notoriety, and the characters experienced that in the comic and the show. Back in 2020, we caught up with cast members Robert Sheehan and Tom Hopper to find out a little bit more about what it's like working alongside Gerard and their approach to the characters.
I was kind of badgering Gerard in a few different ways, and all of this sort of feeds into the psyche of it. But I was sending him comic book ideas, like story ideas for the Klaus spin-off, which has been announced. It's called You Look Like Death. And I come up with a couple of good ideas. I was like, Gerard, mate, this is a brilliant episode of your comic book.
Has he taken you up on any of them?
Very diplomatically and very nicely. He was like, "Hey, thanks, man. That's really sweet. Thank you for those ideas." So I like people like him who are sort of quite far-ranging in their creativity, and I try to latch on to those people.
It was more of a thing after I was cast. I mean, but for me, I remember after reading the comics, it was very important for me that whatever it was that Gerard saw of these characters going into a TV show, that it respected his initial vision of them, you know? So, like, it was just important for me to talk to him that the ways that I was going or the way I saw it was the same as the way he saw it, which fortunately it was, you know, and I think he's been really pleased with everyone's versions of the characters that he came up with in the first place. So, yeah, and I've chatted to Gerard, like, since then quite a few times more about other things, really. We tend to... That's the weird thing when you're sort of immersed in the show. You tend to want to talk about other things other than the show, you know.
Yeah.
Which is actually really nice to get to know Gerard as who he is as a person more.
That's your Rock Sound News Update. I've been James Wilson Taylor. We will see you again soon.